All right, guys. So I'm sure most of you, or all of you, should remember that not too long ago, during the old campaign trail, Donald Trump himself and all of these right wingers were making the case that Donald Trump is the best possible hope for global peace. What's happened after that? What's happened since he's actually taken power? Like, we've got direct threats against Panama involving the Panama Canal. We've got Canada. We've got Mexico. We've got Greenland. We've got Russia and Ukraine right now. We've got Gaza and the whole Palestine-Israel conflict. He has made everything worse. Everything. At least if you're coming from the standpoint of global peace. Even if you're coming from the standpoint of peace for the United States. Like, it's retarded. But so I'm going to play a little video here. I might react a little bit to it, but mainly I just want people to see this. Yeah, I'm not even going to really cover anything else. I'm just going to jump right into it. I think it's best that way.
Hey, folks, I'm recording this on Monday morning, and over the weekend, I think World War III might have started. I don't think we know it yet, but I think World War III might have started. And the four people responsible for starting World War III, when history goes back and winds this clock back, are Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance.
Surprise, surprise. Although I don't know exactly everything he's about to cover. I don't know how true this is. He says he thinks. We'll see what happens going forward. But to be honest, it would really be not too surprising. It would be kind of what's expected. Like, look at the shit that he's doing. He's a fucking moron. And this goes back to his cabinet as well. None of them have any fucking qualifications for their jobs. It's all based on loyalty to Trump. He's created this fucking echo chamber to where there's no people to act as like intelligent checks to him, like we had during the first presidency. And I covered this before as well. He systematically shut down anyone who would tell him no. So now we have a fucking narcissistic fucking imbecile making decisions with no people with actual qualifications to explain to him why it's stupid.
When the Munich Security Conference is convened every year around this time, the NATO allies, for forever, since I was around the DoD, have met in Munich, and they've talked about the commonality of interest between the NATO members. What you saw this week, that J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth led an attack on NATO. They went to Europe and took a shit on a 75-year alliance that has maintained stability and peace in Europe and helped maintain stability and peace around the world. There's a reason we never had a nuclear war, and that's NATO. There's a reason the Russians, back when they had vastly, vastly superior numbers, never rolled tanks through the Fulda Gap into Germany. That's NATO. There's a reason that on 9/11, when America was attacked and over 3,000 lives were taken by Islamic terrorists, there was one group of allies that stepped up to America's aid immediately, and that was NATO.
Ugh.
It got stuck in the branch that it was growing on.
J.D. Vance's speech was so shallow, so immature, so superficial, so shitty, so juvenile. It really indicates to me that the infection of the MAGA own the libs sarcasm has now reached a level where J.D. Vance, who knows better, went to the NATO security meeting and took a dump on our allies. Pete Hegseth goes in, and by the way, folks, sloppy drunk Pete Hegseth went to the NATO security conference, and he led the so-called negotiations with Russia by saying, nope, Ukraine can't be in NATO, and Putin gets to keep Ukraine, or at least chunks of it. These are not smart people.
Yeah, this is really just stating the obvious. Trump made the claim, the accusation, that Ukraine started the war. That is just comically, factually, objectively fucking wrong. Stupid. What a fucking idiot. And he's trying to fucking get like cut deals and take, the last I heard, he wanted 50% of all of their natural resources, not just for like a time, forever moving forward. What a piece of shit. All of our allies are now looking at us like if they didn't think this before, now they're like, Jesus Christ, fucking America? The United States? Like, all they give a shit about is fucking making money. Like, we don't have allies anymore. It's fucking retarded. Anyhow, let's continue.
Pete Hegseth is not a smart person. In fact, he's a shallow Fox News host with a drinking problem for a reason. Because Pete Hegseth is not a genius. Pete Hegseth is not even smart. He is not educated. He is not sophisticated. He does not understand history or politics or the military. Just because he served in an infantry unit does not mean that he understands the global picture. And it was quite clear that he didn't, because he sold out Ukraine before they even sat down at the negotiating table. The idea that Marco Rubio and this congressional delegation that went to Zelensky hands him a piece of paper that says, you have to pay us back for all the aid we've given you by giving us 50% of Ukraine's mineral rights forever, was a level of insanity, a level of absurdity that any serious person should have said, wait, whoa, this isn't how we handle things in America. This isn't how we retain and maintain diplomatic and political and military relationships with other countries. The incompetence, the mania, the absurdity all stems from Donald Trump. Donald Trump loves Vladimir Putin like a fat kid loves cake.
Didn't I fucking cover it? And didn't I tell you? Everybody, at least on the right, were saying this whole thing wouldn't have happened. And this was during Biden, his term. This whole Russia-Ukraine thing would have never happened if Trump were in charge. This shows that you're fucking morons. Trump, as I said before, is a classic, obvious Putin dick sucker. He fucking Putin comes into the room and Trump fucking drops down on his knees and starts fucking licking the ball sack immediately. Like, it's so fucking obvious. And I told you that no, the only difference would be Trump would just say, oh, Putin, just do whatever the fuck you want. I love you. Whatever happens, even if it's against the interests of the United States and other European allies, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever the fuck you want. I love you. I love all of the type of fucking dictatorial fucking madmen all around the world like Kim Jong-un.
Donald Trump loves Vladimir Putin so much that if Putin farted in his face, he'd say it smelled like sunshine and honeysuckle. Donald Trump is on the wrong side of history. He is realigning America with the bad guys. He looks at Putin and Xi and Kim Jong-un as a role model for how he wants America to be in the world.
How do you know when it's time to end a relationship or when to really fight for it to see if there's something there?
I don't think.
Acquisitive, He wants to go out and invade Greenland and Panama and Gaza and maybe Canada. These things are no longer like funny little tropes or jokes. It's not Trump owning the libs. He wants to chunk the world up into spheres of influence. He wants China to have the Pacific. He wants Russia to have Europe. And he wants America to have the Americas. Now, this was a model that existed 100, 120 years ago. And that model failed. Why? Because technology and communications and transportation and the globalization of industry and supply chains unlocked, yes, some chaos and disruption, but unlocked enormous global prosperity. They want to wind that back. Trump wants to wind that back. He wants these spheres of influence where a dictator runs most of Europe and a dictator runs most of Asia and a dictator with the family name of Trump runs America.
For one, it should be very obvious Americans won't allow this. Even the right won't allow this. It's going to take time because they're so stupid that they just fucking gobble up everything Trump says. MAGA people suck the dick of Trump in the same way that Trump sucks the dick of Putin without even thinking, it doesn't even matter. So I want to kind of get you to think about this, and like, of course, this is going to be to a lot of you a stretch, but at the very least, I think it's fitting. When Germany invaded Poland, the very beginning of World War II, there were numerous countries that had agreements specifically for that sort of thing, and no one did shit. Right now, and so let me continue first. Germany got more and more powerful, gained more resources. They became a fucking machine, and they were extremely fucking efficient at what they did. And then they started steamrolling and got more and more powerful as the whole, well, not the whole world, but most of the world just fucking bided their time and decided, like, not my problem. That's what isolation gets you. It's stupid. So, present day, Russia is basically the new fucking Adolf Hitler. He's looking at Europe in like an imperialist fucking mindset, and he wants to take it over. Do you fucking think he's going to be happy with that? No. No fucking imperialist is ever happy with anything less than the complete fucking subjugation of the whole fucking planet. Especially now that humans realize the exact size of the world, realize exactly where all of the precious fucking resources are, who controls them, etc. It's worse now than it used to be back in like fucking Napoleon's day, or Alexander the Great, or Rome. So Trump is basically, he's allowing Putin to fucking get away with this. He's going to fucking take at least chunks of Ukraine, get more powerful. Putin's going to do what Putin always does. He's going to fucking regain his losses because he's lost quite a bit of fucking manpower and resources in this fucking war, this invasion, let's call it what it is, of Ukraine. And then he's going to fucking set his sights on other countries. Poland, fucking, there's no telling. He's going to get more and more powerful to the point where even if the United States wanted, and under Trump, obviously they won't, but this is the problem. His stupid ass sees things through a lens of like a fucking third grader and doesn't understand long-term consequences. It will be too fucking late if you let him become like fucking Adolf Hitler on steroids. There will be no stopping him after a certain point. It's extremely important to keep fucking Putin and people like him in check. Anyway, continuing.
The four men I named here, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth and JD Vance, embarrassed this country at a level that is almost inconceivable. My European friends are losing their shit. And they're not losing their shit in the, oh no, what do we do way? They're losing their shit in the, well, America's fucked us. We've been abandoned. Our alliance obviously didn't mean what we thought it meant. So what we're going to do is build a European defense force. What we're going to do is arm Europe in such a way that Putin doesn't ever feel like he can walk in our door. Because Zelensky was right. When Zelensky this weekend said, if you do this, Vladimir Putin will be in the Balkans. Vladimir Putin will be in the Baltic. Vladimir Putin will be in Poland. Vladimir Putin will be in Germany. Do not believe for a moment that what Trump and Vance and Rubio and Hegseth did this weekend didn't leave the Kremlin popping champagne and doing a victory dance, because those guys heard the clear sound of American retreat from the world. They heard the clear sound of danger to their ambitions in Europe being removed. This is not about how much Europe spends on defense. It's really not. This is about how much America has squandered its reputation, its honor, its political capital in a astounding way, because Donald Trump wants his ego stroked by Vladimir Putin, who calls him and says, "Oh, you're the strongest, tallest, most handsome man in the room, Donald. No one's better than you." Trump falls for it. Now, look, the Tucker Carlson wing of the party, which I'm now including Vance, and frankly, Hegseth is not as sophisticated as Vance, but these guys have this sort of shallow, well, Russia doesn't like those gays neither, so we'll just be aligned with them. Believe me, the white gnat Christian populism thing that Alexander Dugin, look him up, is promoting in Russia, and it basically has become the dominant political culture of Russia. They are very envious of it. But these four men, when the history of this time is written, when the violence and the chaos and the war that comes to Europe next, I want you to remember those four names: Trump, Rubio, Hegseth, Vance. Those men are the architects of a global conflict that we will not soon emerge from. This is a time of enormous danger, and that is why those four people will forever be on the enemies list.
I'm not sure who this is or what the enemies list is, but it's an interesting take. And, well, I definitely agree with his at the very least, calling out the fucking unqualification of basically those four people at the very least. There's a whole lot more than that, but yeah. It's nice to see that some other people, like, again, I don't know about the specifics on whether or not fucking World War III has started or not. Maybe it has, as he said. We'll see. Or maybe that's exaggeration. But regardless of that, he's right about the substance. He's right that this is fucking stupid on so many levels. So many levels. Not to mention it's just the wrong thing to do. So what I've said before, that a lot of people don't understand, what made America, the United States, so powerful in the first place is globalism. You might not like that. You might like have like a automatic reflexive fucking cringe moment or something when I say that, because you're not the type to like globalism. But that doesn't matter. It's still a fact. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. The United States became a powerhouse, and I'm not going to make the case that it was all about fucking sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't. For the most part, we wanted to subjugate the entire world, and we've done it, especially in Latin America, by fucking diplomatic means, as opposed to like the old Roman style. Well, they sort of did it both ways in a way, but we don't just run around fucking like sending troops in and fucking taking over territory like things were done in the past. We make people subservient to the dollar. We take their resources, we bribe fucking officials, put in puppet dictators, etc. It's what we do. And then we funnel all these resources and we use like companies here in the States to basically be overlords. And our GDP is drastically fucking boosted due to that. We get like an unfair advantage, so to speak. That's how we became powerful in the fucking first place. We have our fucking hands in the pie of every fucking region in the world to some extent. Even China, even Russia, all of it. Globalism literally made us the number one fucking power in the world. And what's happening now is this stupid, fucking retarded, Trumpian fucking isolationist shit is destroying all of the fucking traction that we made. And this isn't even getting into like, of course it's wrong that the shit that we did to other countries in the past. But the point is, even if you're one of those people that agree with it and you think like, well, the ends justify the means, it's America first, then you would see it as a positive thing. It's what fucking grew our power in the first place and why we're the top fucking dog. That probably won't be for long. Like, very obviously at this point, at least if things continue in this way, it's like Trump is doing the stupidest possible shit that you can imagine. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how deep it goes. Maybe there's a whole lot more than I'm not even aware of, but at the very least, there's no way around isolationism being fucking retarded when it comes to the interests of the United States. It's just stupid. We've shit on our own fucking allies. Now they don't give a fuck. Now they're like figuring out like what they're going to do in the future. Don't think that they're going to fucking forget about it. The world didn't forget about fucking Afghanistan or Iraq. The world didn't forget about fucking what we did in Latin America, as I already brought up. The world didn't forget about fucking Cuba and fucking Venezuela and Vietnam. We've and by the way, the past was already bad, but now it's like we were doing like evil shit at a pace to where we could at least pretend and have like this thin layer of like bullshit credibility of like, you know, all the claims we made, like this is about fighting terrorism and all that bullshit that they would always throw out. And at least it was enough to where some people would still stay on board. And they would be like, okay, yeah, so America's bad. Well, if they even believed it, a lot of people were just completely fucking gobbled up the bullshit. But like, if they believed it, they still said, okay, but it's still the lesser of all of the possible global evils. We're not at that point anymore. Now everyone's looking at us like we're fucking like global dictators that fucking just don't give a shit about anyone but ourselves. And that does not bode well for the future of the United States of America. I promise you. Anyway, thank you for your time.